Andy Burnham, has said that wealthy areas need to play their part when it comes to housing illegal immigrants.
I have to say, we cannot have a situation where it's only the poorest communities in the country that receive, all of the dispersal of refugees and asylum seekers. I do believe all parts of the country need to work to play their part. It's a challenging issue. We're working at it. We understand people's concerns.
Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Andy Burnham loves to posture about fairness, but now that he's cornered in number 10, his grand strategy for the small boats crisis is to stop nothing and simply ship the problem to your front door. This isn't a serious policy for a national emergency, it's total surrender. A cynical betrayal of the British people, dishonestly disguised as compassion. Now let's be brutally honest about what the new Prime Minister is proposing. In his own words, Andy Burnham has declared he cannot have a situation where it's only the poorest communities in the country that receive all of the dispersal of refugees and asylum seekers. So his answer? Force all parts of the country to, as he says, play their part. On the surface, it's a masterclass in politically correct platitudes, but the moment you apply an ounce of scrutiny, the entire argument is revealed as an insult to our intelligence. And this is not a plan to solve the crisis, it's a scheme to redistribute the consequences of his own government's failure. It doesn't deter a single illegal crossing. Burnham has no plans for stopping the migrant boats, and he really does not have the will to stop them. His Fabian agenda is to continue flooding the UK with migrants and potential Labour voters. It's a national game of political chess, moving the pieces around the board, pure political theatre to create the illusion of action, while the fundamental issue, the complete loss of the control of our borders, is deliberately ignored. What is truly unforgivable is that as Prime Minister, he is responsible for the entire country's border. Yet he speaks as if he's still a powerless regional mayor. He seems utterly out of his depth, only capable of deciding where to dump the problem, not how to stop it at its source. This is a staggering abdication of the primary duty of a Prime Minister. This exposes the rotten core of the issue, the man's breathtaking hypocrisy. Burnham is desperately trying to brand himself as a straight-talking conviction politician. But his record exposes a political chameleon with no core principles. Just last month, on the cusp of his coronation as leader, he voted for his own government's so-called immigration and asylum bill. A bill even his own MPs decried as brutal. So he preaches about fairness and dispersal while voting for a bill that supposedly tightens the system. It's shameless hypocrisy. But it gets worse. As Mayor of Greater Manchester, Burnham repeatedly demanded the government abolish the no recourse to public funds policy. A radical move to grant migrants widespread access to the British welfare state. Now, with the responsibilities of a Prime Minister, he has conveniently abandoned those demands. His team now mouths platitudes about needing control as well as compassion. A cynical pivot now that his past positions are a political liability. This isn't principled leadership, it's the mark of a rank opportunist who says whatever is necessary to advance his career. Tough talk, no answers, when it comes to the single most critical task, actually stopping the boats. But how can you stop the boats when you have idiots like Darren Jones coming out with crap like this?
Can I just say something which I'm sad to say I think is now controversial in our political debate? I did a visit to the Border Security Command in Dover a few weeks ago to see what we were doing to process these applications, to return people that are not allowed to be here, to make sure that you're catching people trying to come in when they shouldn't come in. But let me tell you, when you're there on the site, seeing these dinghies put together by these organised criminal gangs, which are clearly not safe, and when you see that the majority of the people in these boats are children, babies and women who have been...
No, they're not. No, they're not.
No, you have got to take... No, look, I get this is...
North of 90% of them are adult men.
Burnham's plan is an exercise in sounding tough while proposing nothing. He vows his government will be relentless in pursuing criminal gangs. But haven't we heard that one before? He boasts he is changing the whole approach. But what does this meaningless jargon actually mean? His grand strategy is nothing more than the same failed ideas that we have been hearing for years. More ineffective enforcement on the French coast, while we pay the French millions upon millions to stop the boats, which they are failing at, probably on purpose. And then he wants a dangerously naive promise of fair and safe routes. Critics have warned for years that creating more safe routes simply validates the business model of human traffickers, giving them a state-approved destination to sell to their victims. He says we cannot have a situation where it's only the poorest communities bearing the brunt of the crisis, yet his plan guarantees the burden will increase for everyone. Take a look at this.
It's unbelievable, this. It's so enraging. They came from Pakistan on a work visa, started working as an Uber driver, brought their kids with them. The work visa expired, so they applied for asylum. They were obviously granted asylum because we just give that out to anyone at the moment. Now we've built a load of brand new homes, which would be worth roughly 400,000 Australian dollars each. 21 of these brand new homes have been given specifically for asylum seekers, and they are in a nice rural village where people chose to move to, etc. And yeah, they're complaining about it. They say it's too remote. They say they feel isolated. Oh, I'm sorry, do you want a penthouse in central London? I'm sorry that our country that is giving you a home, an education for your children, free healthcare, all the trappings of this wonderful culture that our forefathers spent centuries creating and nurturing. I'm sorry that that isn't quite good enough for you. I mean, the other aspect to this now is that we are renovating disused military bases around the country, more of them. One of them is in a town with a population of 600 people, and they're looking at putting around 1,500 asylum seekers and illegal immigrants in that town and village, and they're allowed to roam freely. I mean, it's absolutely maddening, this.
This entitled migrant family turned down the brand new house because it had no bus routes, no other immigrants around them, and was too quiet and isolated. This is a problem that Burnham has not considered as he starts placing asylum seekers into all the leafy suburbs of middle-class England. It is a hollow rhetoric from a man who, when faced with one of the greatest challenges to our national security, has no answers, only focus group sound bites. So what's the verdict? Is Andy Burnham a serious leader with a credible plan, or is he a charlatan selling a fantasy that will only make the crisis worse? Tell me what you think in the comments. And if you want honest analysis that refuses to bow to the political establishment, make sure you subscribe and share this video. So, let's call this plan what it is. The proposal to shuffle asylum seekers across the country isn't a solution. It is a blueprint for more failure. It's a quiet confession that his government is unwilling or unable to control the English Channel. Instead of stopping the invasion, Burnham's big idea is to ensure the misery is spread more evenly. This is not leadership, it's a devious tactic to pit neighbour against neighbour and distract from the government's incompetence, all while the boats continue to arrive unabated. This is a policy born of political cowardice, not a serious strategy for national security. The British people are not asking for the problem to be moved down the road, they are demanding it be stopped. And on that fundamental duty, he has failed. And then we have this to deal with. These idiots think that the migrants on the French coast need entertaining. Prime Minister Andy Burnham has nothing to offer but managed decline and national surrender. But let me know what you think. If I'm totally wrong, tell me in the comments. But thanks for watching. Till the next video, have a good day.